Hello, BookTube. I've got a little bit of mail for you today on a Sunday. Bright, sunny winter Sunday, still bitterly, bitterly cold. Joe Spivey and I biked a quick 10 kilometers this morning just to get the blood pumping through the lovely countryside of Kent. And I tell you, my giblets were frozen by the time we were done, which was no time at all since we're biking enthusiasts. But a bunch of mail came uh, very late on Saturday, as usual. Just a huge amount of mail late on Saturday. So we've got, not a huge amount, 3 packages, but good enough to start with. So we've got 2 packages in a box, and the package that annoys me the most is this big vacuum press thing. So we'll get rid of that. Get, oh, it's 2 books. All right. Well, in this case, it is justified then because it's 2 books. What have we got here? Oh, all right, all right. We have 2 finished copies of things that we saw last year. Just as well to be looking at those things afresh in the new year. So this first one is for late in the month, February 25th. And we've seen it already. It's a tiny little thing. It's Andrea Barrett's Dust and Light. Okay. It's almost the size of a paperback. It's still going to be $30 in hardcover. But this is on the art of fact in fiction. Let's see what we have here. Positive review from Kirkus. In this book, the author draws on from her experiences writing some of the most acclaimed historical fiction of our time to explore the mysteries and delights of the genre. Inspiration found in the past, she argues, can illuminate fiction, just as dust scatters light and makes the unseen visible. Delving into some of the largest questions in the genre, how does a writer find meaningful subject matter beyond the confines of their life? How are the scraps of history transformed into a fully loaded narrative? She explores how she came to create some of her beloved works and explores lessons. You put explores twice in the same sentence, so you did. Explores lessons gleaned from the work of master historical fiction such as Toni Morrison, Leo Tolstoy, Henry Mantel, and Colm Tobin. And that last line is what I think I said the first time we saw this. That's what I suspect this book is. Just a pretty pride front parlor version of collected reviews. This book is a perfect book for anyone who loves reading fiction set in the past, as well as for anyone aspiring to write it. That's the interesting part, the aspiring to write it part, because we are gearing up for a lot of writing stuff on this channel, and I've already urged you to write nonfiction. Actually, try your hand at writing nonfiction, which is first cousin to historical fiction. But we could also try writing historical fiction, couldn't we? So let's take a look at the table of contents here just to see if I'm right. The floating pants, the sea of information, the year and the years, the years and the years. Well, that's going to be a whole essay about Virginia Woolf. Well, no, it looks like some of these are general meditations on writing. It doesn't matter. I have the advanced copy of this and I haven't got to it yet, so I feel rather bad about that. I will. This is later in the month, so I will get to this right away. And then the other finished copy that was in this that vacuum press thing is a finished copy that is going to be a paperback, $20 paperback, which we've seen already, and which is another book ostensibly about writing and storytelling. This is by Henry Lean, and it is Spring, Summer, Asteroid, Bird, the Art of Eastern Storytelling. Another tiny little thing here, but this is a finished copy, so this is coming out as a paperback. Discussions in the West. This also has a positive review from Kirkus. Discussions in the West around diversity in the arts often focus on the identities of characters and creators. In this book, the speculative fiction author and writing instructor Henry Lean makes the path-breaking argument that diversity is about more than just plopping different faces into stories that are 100% Western in spirit. It can and should encompass diverse structures, themes, and values. Lovely. More lecture. Different kind of lecture. Using examples ranging from Parasite to The 1001 Nights to the Mario video game franchise. Lovely. Okay. All right. The author introduces readers to Eastern storytelling and shows how storytelling staples in the West, such as the 3-act structure and themes of empowerment and change, are far from universal. he introduces the East Asian four-act structure, as well as circular and nested structures, and explains how Eastern value systems, such as collectivism, can dictate form. Okay, all right. Well, I have the advanced copy of this. It's virtually indistinguishable from it. This is going to be a nice, substantial in terms of its construction. It's a tiny little thing. It's an hour's read. This is 2 hours reading. So they both go on the pile for tonight. We'll do a lot of reading about writing. That's great. That will actually light a fire under my keister for more writing videos on this channel, which I definitely want to do in 2025. Then we'll move on to the middle envelope. We'll save the box for last. No idea what the box could be. Probably these will be finished copies of things that we've already seen, but we saw them last year, so they don't count. Let's see. Oh, okay. I just mentioned this on my Steve stream last night, my raucous Steve stream last night, which I suppose, even though this is a mail haul video, I suppose I should pause and thank you all. Actually, I know that I should. I should pause and thank you all for the absolute tsunami of welcome back, nice to see you that I got on that video in the comments, or in the chat, and also in the comments, and also in emails as a response to that. That warmed my 28-year-old heart quite a bit to get those messages. But I mentioned this then. This is the new book by Eowyn Ivey, Black Woods, Blue Sky. I was enheartened by all of those messages of welcome, but I was also enheartened on a smaller level, a more localized level, by all the people who like this author. That's great, because I do too. Now we have the dust jacket, so we can read about the book. Let's see. This comes out in February. That's why I have the finished copy. But I don't actually have a pub sheet. Birdie's keeping it together. Of course she is. So she's a little hungover sometimes, and she has to bring her daughter, Emmeline, to her job waiting tables at the Alaskan Roadside Lodge. Still, she's getting by as a single mother in a tough town. But Birdie can remember happier times from her youth, when she was free in the wilds of nature. Arthur Nielsen, a soft-spoken and scarred recluse who appears in town only at the change of the seasons, brings Emmeline back to safety when she gets lost in the woods. Most people avoid him, but to Birdie he represents everything she's ever longed for. She finds herself falling for Arthur and the land he knows so well. Against the warnings of those who care about them, Birdie and Emmeline move to Arthur's isolated cabin in the woods. On the far side of Wolverine River. It's just the three of them in the vast black woods, far from roads, telephones, electricity, and the outside contact. But Birdie believes she has come prepared. At first, it's idyllic, and she can easily picture a happily ever after. Together they catch salmon, pick berries, and climb mountains that seem tall enough to touch the bright blue sky, and that are crawling with bears. But soon Birdie discovers that Arthur is something much more mysterious and dangerous than she could ever have imagined, and that a fairy tale like the Alaskan wilderness can be dark as it is beautiful. Now, we're told that she believes she has come prepared, unless she's come prepared with a man-stopping caliber gun. So don't go to a stranger's cabin in the woods with a .22 caliber pistol. You need to have a gun of a sufficient caliber so that when you shoot a man, he goes down and doesn't get back up. And that's not a .22. That's not a lady's pistol. And I don't think that's the kind of preparation that she has. But this is a February release. All of these are February releases. And this right here, these three books, oh my God, these three books that I just got are maybe 2 hours reading. So that I am ahead of my own mail haul here in terms of tonight's reading. So if I can pry myself away from this. If I can pry myself away from reading New Yorker short stories, this won't be anything at all. This has barely put a dent in the night's reading. Just the mail today. So let's see if the box can maybe put a deeper dent. Let's take a look. Oh, this is all right. This is a finished copy, whatever it is. That's good. I'll get the invoice out of here. That's kind of gross. We don't want an invoice. Oh, very good. Okay, this is from the great folks at Princeton University Press. Boy, I didn't realize this would be this big. 500 pages. This is by Ian Stewart, and this is The Celts, A Modern History. Nice big thing from Princeton University Press. Princeton University Press, one of their publicists, well, I know and love all these people, and one of them sent me a dangerous email and said, here's a catalog of forthcoming books. Just let me know if there's anything you like. She was clearly accustomed to dealing with harried editors who are going to look at maybe one, maybe two titles, if that. So I'm not sure that she was prepared for the bombardment that she got. What can I say? If academic presses keep putting out great books, I'm going to keep wanting to read them. So I don't have a sheet for this either. This is, but we'll read from the dust jacket because this is going to come out. Okay, Ian Stewart is an intellectual and cultural historian of modern Europe and a research fellow at the University of Edinburgh's Institute for Advanced Studies in the Humanities. And that is our author. He has written a big fat book about the Celts. So let's see. Because this is an academic press book, it does not have a price on the cover, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is $35, $40, something like that. Always kind of amazes me that the academic press books from the institutions with the biggest endowments are the ones that regularly raise their prices on the books they publish. Harvard University Press could publish all of their books for free, zero price tag, from now until the end of time, without putting a scratch and even a fraction of a percentage of the interest on their principal. But no. But anyway, let's see here. Before the Greeks and Romans, the Celts ruled the ancient world. They sacked Rome, invaded Greece, and conquered much of Europe, from Ireland to Turkey. Celts registered deeply on the classical imagination for 1,000 years and were variously described by writers like Caesar and Livy as unruly barbarians, fearless warriors, and gracious hosts. I hope to be all of those in February. But then in the early Middle Ages, they vanished. In this book, the author tells the story of their rediscovery through the Renaissance and their transformation over the next few centuries into one of the most popular European ancestral peoples. This book shows how the idea of this ancient people was recovered by scholars, honed by intellectuals, politicians, and other thinkers of various stripes, and adopted by cultural revivalists and activists as they tried to build European nations and nationalisms during the 18th and 19th century. Long forgotten, the Celts improbably came to be seen as the ancestors of most of Western Europe, and a pillar of modern national identity in Britain, Ireland, and France. Okay, I stumbled just a little there at the mention of politicians as intellectuals. Recovered by scholars, honed by intellectuals, politicians, and other thinkers of various stripes. The implication being that politicians are thinkers, which is absurd. That's not just rare, it's absurd. So what do we have here? We break this down by time period? Roughly, more or less? How interesting. How interesting. Okay. Well, I don't have a sheet for this. I'm betting it's a February release, so that would make a clean sweep. That would mean that this whole thing, all 4 of these books, are February releases. Which is fine by me. My February shelf is nice and healthy, but it can always stand to get healthier. So that's the mail. 2 books on writing, fiction, and history. And I don't really know what point I'm trying to make here, except maybe that I long for the good old days when I got 10 books in a day in the mail. But the books that I received in the mail today are not my whole night's reading. I am going to add things. I'm going to have to add things to my night's reading in order to fill it out, in order to get more than just this done. So there's a kind of a neatness in that. My mail haul is covered. I will do they are all February releases, so I'll do them all tonight. And that's it. That is the mail plus the bean. Here on the first Sunday of February. So I'll wrap this up. I don't expect to get mail today, but we'll try to keep the mail train coming. I know a lot of you like that. A lot of these things are coming out, so you can request them at your library. You can look for them at your bookstore. Always happy to be of service. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.